Hello, everybody in the YouTube land. This is Five for Talking. I'm here with Caps, the host of the show, the
Star,
CEO, the CEO of hockey,
star, president.
star president. Is that a new position they open?
I just made it up.
All right, I like it. We'll just do a little NHL stuff here. I got only a couple things, but I figure we should talk about some of them. So the Ducks are doing real bad. And this is going to be a rumor talk. Let's just call it that. The Ducks are doing real bad. Do you think that they put Getzlaf out for trade? What would you call that? Do you think they shop Getzlaf?
I think eventually they're going to have to go through a rebuild anyway. So why not trade up Getzlaf for some draft picks, possibly? I'm pretty sure there are going to be some teams out there looking for some rental players for their potential deep playoff runs. And I think Getzlaf would be a tremendous asset for any sort of team. I think they got a chance for the cup.
Yeah, honestly, I think Getzlaf could bring a really good player to any team, especially if you I'm not saying this is the team, but if you were like Washington or Pittsburgh, where you already have two solid centers and he's your third center, you're not losing with Getzlaf. And I do think you're right about shopping him, but there's a few Ducks fans at work, and they don't think that the Ducks shop. Oh my gosh, my light turned off. They don't think the Ducks shop Getzlaf. Do you think that's a strange thing to believe?
Yeah, why would they say that?
I don't know. They're under none of them know each other either. They're all three of them just are under the idea that there's no way that they're going to shop Getzlaf.
It's an option.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is it something that they should be doing? I think so.
I think so as well.
Because they're going to go through rebuilds very, very soon, man. Like, Getzlaf is what, like 34?
I believe so. 33 or 34?
Yeah, eventually you're going to have to go through rebuild anyway, so.
He's starting to get that Spezza situation where they just can't skate anymore. I mean, obviously they can skate better than I can 100%. But
Spezza could skate.
yeah, but he doesn't have that endurance anymore. You see him. He goes up the ice, down the ice, he's off. Where a lot of those guys will stay on the ice for as long as they can. But that was maybe not a good point, but you know what I mean. He's starting to slow down. Okay, so I looked up a few things, and I saw a bunch of stuff talking about how the Tuukka Rask era is over in Boston. And he's 34 right now, and they've been really pushing and training and grooming Daniel Vladar and Jeremy Swayman, who are the young guys. Do you think that they look for a trade for Tuukka Rask at the deadline, which would free up $7 million for them, so they could bring in another player?
Was it Halak was playing today?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a tough one. I don't know who's going to take on a $7 million goalie. And quite honestly, I haven't been really keeping up with Boston. So what is Rask's record for the year?
Honestly, I didn't look at it. It's funny that you said that, because that wasn't even a factor into it. But now that you said it, maybe that has something to do with it. But to me, it was just I feel like they just want to move on, and $7 million gets you Taylor Hall, or you know what I mean. So
why would Boston take on Taylor Hall?
Because Boston, it looks like they're trying to get forwards.
Sorry, why Taylor Hall? Taylor Hall hasn't done jack.
I'm just naming a player that's on the deadline. Jack Eichel. Then does that make you feel better?
That's a different story. When I'm looking at this year, he's 8-4.
Mm-hmm.
With a 2.46 goals against average and a save percentage of .906.
Yeah, to me, it didn't seem like it was his play that's they're done with. I think that they just feel like it's for the price they could move on and use one of the young guys. I mean, who knows? It's kind of a bad idea. I think that's what I've been saying about the Leafs situation, but we'll get into that in Leafs talk. But I think that it makes no sense to trade him if you're going to push for the cup. So Moving on from this, the Islanders have looked great over the past week.
And they lost their captain.
Yeah, they look like they're one of the most undervalued teams. Okay, so my question to you is: of these three undervalued teams that are all playing very well, who has the best shot at the cup and why? Florida, Carolina, or the Islanders?
Wow,
Uh,
pretty good. First of all, with the Islanders situation, because that contract comes off their salary cap, they would be a team to go out and get some players to help make it far in the playoffs. Islanders would probably benefit more from like picking up like sort of a rental player because of the fact that they lost Anders Lee. Islanders got a shot. I think in this scenario, probably Carolina. I don't know. Florida just kind of came out of nowhere, and I just feel like we're in midseason, and I don't know. I'm not. I feel like their play is gonna sort of taper off a little bit. I'm
I
just saying.
agree.
I don't know.
I agree.
I could be wrong.
I don't think that Florida is what they're doing right now, if that makes English. Like they're playing
I don't think that was English.
they're playing very well, like blowing everybody away with their play. A lot of their young pieces stepped up, and it's minus some of their better players that they lost in the offseason. And I don't think that they're a playoff team. I mean, I know that's a weird thing to say, but looking at them, I don't think they hold up in that intense play. I think right now they're cruising along, and that division is like four really good teams and four really bad teams right now, and I'm just a little wishy-washy on it.
It's pretty much like every other division.
Yeah, so Carolina is the most complete team for me, especially now that the Islanders have what was his name? Anders Lee, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's out. I think Carolina is the most complete team, and I think Carolina's been a really good team for the last 3 seasons. If you
And
include
that's why I'm picking them, because they've been pretty consistent for the last few years.
The Islanders went really far last year too. Didn't they make it to the semifinals?
Yeah, and they've made some gains. I know that, but it's the fact that they lost their captain kind of worries me a little bit.
I mean, I'm not against that. I think you make a good point there. Okay, so this is a weird one for me because they were so good last year, and I know you remember me chirping up fans talking about how good Philadelphia was and how they weren't really that good. They look so bad. It's like they play one game where they win, and it's like a good game. It's okay, and then they get absolutely demolished the next game. Didn't they just lose 9-0? They did, right? To New York Rangers.
I think it has a lot to do with Carter Hart. I think he's kind of lost confidence in himself. It's a different Carter Hart from last year. He was definitely on a high last year, and I think he had a lot to do with the fact that they made it that far. This year is pretty much he's lost confidence in himself, and I think it's showing, and I think it's rubbing off on the rest of the team a little bit. So I think they're going through the goalie stigma that they've been going through for the last 10 years.
Can I be honest with you? Just let me jump in on that.
No, you cannot be honest.
Thank you. Philadelphia has had a goaltending situation for about the last 20 years where they bring in a goalie. He plays well. They trade him. Then they bring up a young guy that they've been grooming. Plays really well. Trade him. Then they sign a guy. Plays well. Trade him. Then they bring up a rookie. Plays really well. Trade him. Since Bob, what was his name? Boucher. I don't want to say Bobby Boucher. That's the water boy. But yeah, his last name is Boucher, and he's an analyst now. And he was at the beginning of that. Then you had the Brizgalov era. You had all types of things going on in Philadelphia with their goaltending. You can look this up. This is a
But they
fact.
didn't play well, and then they traded him. They played well, then they sucked, and then they traded him.
Yeah, but the goalies they have a bad habit of getting somebody and then getting rid of them or not re-signing them.
Yeah, because it just doesn't work
They
out.
fall apart. I mean, but
Scallop, Brian Elliott.
yeah, trust me, the list is huge. It's so huge. I wish I actually looked it up to write down all the names. I'm gonna do that for the next episode.
One guy last year, like the guy that the Leafs picked up from Philly. He played for Philly, and he had health issues. Slipping my mind right now. They signed him for a professional tryout, and it just didn't work out. Why I don't understand why. I can't remember the guy's name, but it's just the fact that they've played. They'll have like one good season, and then they're like horrible after that, and then they just don't know what to do.
Claude Giroux also has completely taken a step back this season.
It's gonna happen eventually. I mean, he's getting up there in age too.
Yeah, that's fair. And Voracek is always hit and miss. Couturier is probably their best player right now.
I was going to say probably Van Riemsdyk. But I guess
yeah, Van Riemsdyk. I forgot about Van Riemsdyk. Very nice pull on that. Van Riemsdyk was on fire for a while. So,
nope.
You got anything else for Philadelphia before I move on?
I'm going to try and figure out the guy's name, but go ahead. You keep going.
Okay. So Erik Karlsson is apparently very unhappy in San Jose with the rebuild that they're doing. There's rumors that San Jose may try to shop him, and they'll retain a large chunk of his salary depending on how many draft picks they get. But who could still afford the rest of that contract? Because he's getting paid what? I think 11.5. It's between 11 and 12 million. And who's taking that contract? There's no way San Jose is going to hold like 8 million of it. Michael Neuwirth. Yeah, see, again, and they had the other guy. I'm going to make a list of them. I promise for the next episode, I'm going to list all of the starting goalies from Philadelphia for the last 20 years.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off, but go ahead, Karlsson.
That's fine. Yeah, I don't think there's a team, even if San Jose retains 6 million, I don't think anybody's fitting another 7 million, 6.5 million on their salary cap to get Karlsson.
Yeah, what did you say that he didn't sign up for this because they were going through a rebuild?
Yeah.
Who's going to take on that contract? He hasn't been playing well anyway.
That's my point.
Like
3
years maybe.
He's almost immovable. He's put himself in an awkward situation now.
Ever since he went down with that ankle injury, that was it, man. He has not come back. He has not been the same.
No, I agree.
Definitely not the same player that was there in the first year in San Jose and that deep playoff run that he had with Ottawa. Not the same player. That's it. Do you remember back in the day, like they had the same? He was in the same conversation as Sidney Crosby.
Yeah, no. Let's go back. Season 1.
He was unbelievable, and that Ottawa Senators team had nobody.
Season 1 of 5 for Talking was the year that they made the deep push in the playoffs when Pittsburgh won the cup.
Yeah, and he was like one of the best players in the league.
We all were like praising him. I specifically said, I remember this, and I'm going to admit it. I said he was the best player in the NHL. And
nothing wrong with that. He was.
I know. And he was easily in a conversation with Ovechkin, Crosby, all of them. And now I think that was McDavid's rookie season. And he was so good. And then the next year he was fine. And then he just off the map after that.
Yeah. He went down with the injury, and that was it. Done.
Yeah, that's really a really strange situation. I mean, I hope it turns around for him. He's so talented.
No one's going to take on that contract. He has not put in the work. He has not put in the effort.
And I think he kind of burned his bridges when he left Ottawa. Like, people looked at that kind of like stupidly, but I get it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean, he could burn bridges with one team. Look at Galchenyuk. Come on. Like, he's probably
Let's not talk about Galchenyuk, all right?
Come on. Like, that doesn't mean anything. He could burn bridges with one team. Doesn't mean it can't work out with another team.
All right. So, do you have anything else on that? I got 2 more things here.
Go ahead.
Okay. So, the Blackhawks of Chicago apparently are willing to. They're saying that they're not 100%, but there's a huge speculation that they're going to be willing to load up on bad contracts for prospects and draft picks to facilitate trades for other teams. So I think this might be the best idea for a rebuild that I've seen, because if you're going to load up on 1-2 year contracts that you can get rid of, and you're going to get enough prospects and draft picks to almost put a whole new team together right there and still have Kane and Taves and Keith on your team, I mean, I'm all for that, because I'm going to compare this to basketball. If you look at the growth of the players on the Minnesota Timberwolves that have no veteran players really, and the best players on the team are rookies, or not rookies, they're just younger players, there's less room to grow. Where a team like Golden State has a bunch of young guys and like failed projects, but because the best players on the team are all veteran players, they're rubbing off on the young guys. And I think that's a positive thing that could happen in Chicago. Do you agree?
So what you're saying is they'll take on a bunch of bad contracts
in order, but to do that, they're going to get draft picks and prospects.
So they're giving away bad contracts. Well,
No. Okay, so if the Leafs want to make a trade, okay, let's say the Leafs want to trade for Taylor Hall. I know I keep saying Taylor Hall because I know you don't like it now. The Leafs want to trade for Taylor Hall, but they need to free up cap. So they'll trade in a 3-way trade or in a separate trade a bunch of draft picks and prospects to Chicago with a really bad contract. So Chicago will take salary from Toronto and in return give
also
them
they'll
nothing.
take on salary.
Yeah. That's basically what I meant by a bad contract. So they'll help facilitate trades between teams by accepting draft picks as like payment. So I think that's a good idea.
I'm not a GM. I mean, it's creative.
Are you more of a fan of rebuilding with some veteran players behind it?
They already have that, though.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Do you think that that's a better situation? That's a good idea to do this? Because I personally do think it is.
I think it's all right because when they start playing like crap, you can still utilize them on the third and fourth line. Or
and I think they bring a lot.
Pairing.
3-time Cup winners.
They've done their job. They know what it takes to win. So I think that's the reason why they probably would be open to that idea. If they were a bunch of guys that never won a cup before, then they probably would have gotten rid of them a long time ago. But because they're still there, because they've won a cup, that's why they probably feel like the younger folks would benefit from them because they've done what they need to do to win a cup. 3 times?
3, yeah. Also, I think when you I know I compared it to NBA, but if you compare this to NHL, look at the Leafs and the struggles they went through early on when they had only good young players and all the veteran players were worse than the good players. You can't change that now. Now you're just trying to the reclamation project by bringing in people to help lead the way, kind of. I feel like your best players on your team in the early early pages of a rebuild should be veteran players. So having those guys there, Taves, Kane, Keith, I think that means a lot. Maybe you still have Seabrook hanging around behind the scenes practices and whatnot. I
don't think it should be veteran players, just veteran players. I think it should be good.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
That have won before.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like they should be very good players. It shouldn't just be a random guy hanging around that's played in the NHL. I agree.
That's never won.
Yeah. So I have one more thing here that's hockey, but it's not hockey. The new Mighty Ducks show is on the way. I like the trailer. I don't know if you saw it, but Emilio Estevez is a mainstay in the season and the show. There's a couple other big actors in it. But a bunch of the Mighty Ducks stars from the original movies are making a cameo in one of the episodes. I think they're in the whole episode. I don't know why, but there's still no word and no pictures. Nothing has been shown with Joshua Jackson, who played Charlie, yet. Do you think that there's something up? Should they bring Charlie back?
I don't care.
You don't care? It's the Mighty Ducks. Blasphemous. I'm looking at
Is
you.
Emilio Estevez in it?
Yeah.
Then that's it.
The mighty Duckman himself, Emilio Estevez, coach of the Ducks.
That's it, man.
All right, that's fair.
I think the only reason why they got Emilio Estevez in is just to bring up a whole new generation of younger players. I think they're going through their own sort of rebuild.
They're like the. Did you plan that?
Unless they're going to bring what's his name, Joshua Jackson, in as a coach.
I mean, he was the main guy for 3 movies other than Coach Bombay.
Emilio Estevez was.
I said other than Coach Bombay. All right. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Nick doesn't like the Mighty Ducks. Write that in the comments. Let him know how much you don't like him for not liking the Mighty Ducks.
How many movies were there?
3.
First 2 were fun.
The third one sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and you know what time it is. Good mythical warning. Some shit.